One aside, has anyone else noticed that all the Void legendaries that we get for free are all Dark Elves? Visix, Lydia, and Mithrala? Coincidence? I think not. Welcome, my name's Ehabad, a free-to-play endgame player in Raid Shadow Legends. Today I'm going to do my first champion guide for Mithrala Lifebane. Everyone can and will get her via Hydra, and whilst that game mode is horrendous, the champion is amazing and totally worth the pain. Most people call her an arena defense specialist, and she is amazing in that role. With extremely high effective resistance, full team cleanse and strengthen make a very tanky team. However, for me, she has transformed my arena offense most of all. As with many players trying to battle their way through arena, we don't always have the optimum champion for each role. Consequently, we don't necessarily have the meta counters. For me, Mithrala has been huge to counter hegemon teams. I don't have Morley, and my immunity gear isn't good enough to run a full immunity team, which I think is a situation many people find themselves in, especially in this age of empowerment, reaction, and stone skin. Furthermore, Mithrala has been brilliant for me to counter Kymar teams, as typically both Kymar and hegemon will put out some form of AoE crowd control on your team, and Mithrala is able to cut in, cleanse it, and then we are able to wrestle control of the fight. The one caveat to that is Warlord. Warlord remains a thorn in my side. It's still a champion that I can't really counter very well, and Mithrala also suffers against Warlord, although it's likely she will resist the skill cooldown and be able to get her abilities away. It isn't enough unless you have something else within the team to counter Warlord. So let's talk about the build. Mine is very similar to most of those you'll find out there. I do think running an immunity set is the strongest build currently, as it ensures taunting set, stun set, Siphi's A1, any of these irresistible abilities don't stop us in the start of the fight, and I think that's critical. So if you want to use her in arena, especially if you want to use her as an arena offense cleanser, you have to run an immunity. I think there's just no getting around that at all. Beyond that, I've simply stacked as much speed and accuracy as I could, and then focused on resistance and survivability thereafter. Ideally, I'd have her a bit faster, but this is the limitation of my untouchable gear. Untouchable, I think, is the best set for her because of the extra 40 resistance in addition to the immunity buff. You can obviously use the immunity gear, but you're sacrificing some stats. In any case, more farming of Scarab to come. In terms of the masteries, it's a fairly straightforward set of masteries. We're focusing on the nodes that will improve our base stats. So we've picked up some accuracy nodes in Eagle Eye and Pinpoint. We also want to have a chance to extend our debuffs on them, particularly the Hex. So Master Hexer makes sense. And she puts out a lot of buffs for our team. So Lasting Gifts makes sense. Obviously, if you're trying to pick up both Master Hexer and Lasting Gifts, it does constrain what you can do in the tree above, as you need to be able to split to both ends of the tier 5. With that in mind, we've picked up Law of Steel for extra stats, and we've picked up various nodes that will increase the size of the shield she puts out on the A3. So we've got Shield Bearer, we've got Merciful Aid, we've got Healing Savior, so we've got like 3 nodes that will increase the size of her shield, and then we've got Rapid Response. So, she's putting a lot of buffs out on the champions. Every time they remove or expire, she's picking up 10 meter to be able to cycle her abilities more quickly. It is very much an arena-focused mastery tree, but I think it works well. On the defense side, we've picked up Defiant, more stats through the resistance, improved parry to take less damage. Again, we're looking to increase the size of shields, and any healing she receives as well will be boosted by rejuvenation. So it's a really underrated node. I actually have it on a lot of champions. Shadow Heal to, again, try and find some way of passive sustain. Solidarity means when we do get some buffs on from her, that further increases our resistance. And then Cycle of Revenge, so particularly nice against this when we're going on the go second style, that she's getting the TM boost when Hegemon does his attack, if there happens to be a crit. And there are still some nuke hedgies out there. Also, I needed it on Mithrala because I have it on Duchess, and if I didn't have it on Mithrala, Duchess would leap ahead of Mithrala, and then I wouldn't be able to do the AoE cleanse. So I think if you have it on any of your other arena champions that you want to pair with Mithrala, and you want Mithrala to be doing the cleanse first, she needs to have it as well. Beyond that, obviously the skills are booked. I am missing one book in the A1, but since I'm not really worried about her PvE performance at this moment in time, I'm not fussed about that book. I might put it in at some point, particularly if I want some extra points in a CVC. But for now, it works perfectly. Right, let's get into showing her in some content. One thing I did today is I used her in floor 90 of Nether Spider, and actually this team is full auto. It's not going to win the record on turns taken. I mean, I have a video about how you get down to extremely few turns on this exact floor. You know, mixing it with, I think it was around 11 turns I did before. And if we have a quick look at global rankings, I mean, it's that kind of area. So, you know, we're looking at this sort of 9 to 11 turn area that's near the top of the leaderboard. I have a video about how you achieve these kind of turns. But I wanted this time to have a full auto team that did it very quickly. So we have a team setup running. We have Mithrala not using her A3 on the first 2 rounds, and then she starts with the A3 in the 3rd round. Geomancer is an A1 bot only in the first 2 rounds, then opens with Quicksand Grasp, and then follows up with A1s only. Leoris does what it needs to do. Venomage again will save Venomage's abilities and make sure that we have Flesh Melter for the first round of the boss. And then similar with Vogoth, we'll save his AoE until we hit the boss. So if we just run through this right now, you'll see A, that it works, B, it's extremely quick, and C, Mithrala is actually extremely strong against Nether Spider. Her A3 will give us a full team cleanse to take off all the poisons when we first zone in against the spider boss. So you'll see when we zone in, all the spiderlings will attack us, put multiple stacks of poison on all of our champions, which will happen right now. Mithrala will cleanse all of that off and give us strengthen and a shield. Now that strengthen acts as a flat damage reduction to all the damage we take, including poisons and hits. That, paired with Venomage's passive and Geomancer's passive, means we take hugely reduced damage from all forms in this fight. And you'll see how relatively easily we actually get through this fight. Whereas if Mithrala wasn't there, we didn't have the strength and we didn't have the cleanse, you would need either to be running someone in a large shield set, or have some lucky RNG, or maybe put someone in swift parry. You know, it becomes less consistent. Whereas this one, every time I've run it, it's been full auto and it's been 100% so far. So we'll just run these 2 keys and you'll just see how it goes. People will die, but like it doesn't matter as long as we get it done. 22 turns, 1 minute 30, not the cleanest. So let's run it again. You can see it again. We could probably slightly change the lineup in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, if we had Foley in place of Leoris, who give us a block revive, that would speed things up. But Leoris does have 2 AoEs, so typically gets through those first 2 waves very quickly. Then again, you'll see we'll portal in, Mithrala will give us the cleanse, the strength and the shield. We'll repeat the exact same attack sequence that you just saw, and it works very smoothly. It isn't a boss that I intend on farming. I will be doing Scarab because I do want more untouchable gear. It was a boss that I once upon a time did farm because I wanted to get a decent untouchable. I want to get a decent affinity breaker set on my allure, but the set itself is frankly a bit weak. To be honest, it needs a buff. But if you did for any reason want to farm Nether Spider, this is an extremely quick, efficient, and so far stable team, and I'd recommend it. It's quick. This time 1 minute 7 seconds, new record for this composition in terms of turns taken, just 19, and it works great. I mean, obviously Mithrala could be replaced by many champions here. It's not that you need her to create a full auto Nether Spider farm team, but she seems to do a good job at it. So I felt it'd be interesting for you guys to see that. But what we really care about is Classic Arena. All right, so if we just take this team first on the list, we have Kymar and Hegemon. These are 2 champions I think Mithrala counters extremely well. So in fact, this is the team I would use to do it. It's my Nuke Hedgie counter team, and in my mind I use this team when I want to counter any kind of Hedgie with a nuker, or if Hedgie is the main nuker, it works just as well. But the idea is if there's a lot of firepower coming between Mithrala, Asuga, and Duchess, it will help protect Leoris. And then obviously Leoris has his own passive as well, which will kick in. They're not running a Ramantu, so I don't need to worry about that. They're not running a Genbo, so I don't need to worry about that. Kymar could strip it, but Kymar will likely open with the strip, so again, not really such an issue. If we zone right in, you'll see what I expect to happen. Hegemon will open, probably A2, probably, decrease some attack, lock out some skills, whatever. Kymar will then attempt to sleep. Will sleep Duchess and Asuga. Leoris can't be slept because of his passive, but if you had a different nuker there, that nuker would also be slept. So here we'll open with the A3, which full team cleanse, get the shield and the strengthen on, will help us take some of the damage. Then I have Duchess with the A2, increase attack, get the block debuffs going. And then Leoris is free to nuke. We're not going to kill the whole team because, Necrit's protecting, but we'll do a good amount of damage. I'll then get the old ally protection going, get the Hex onto Necrit. The sooner Necrit dies, the sooner that Trunda will die. Trunda gets the nuke. You notice Leoris, even though he does have his own inbuilt unkillable, with all the damage reduction stacking across this entire team, he's not actually even triggered that unkillable yet. But now Leoris, with low health, is going to do huge amounts of damage, and the team's beaten. So I've got it speed tuned such that Mithrala will go first, cleanse the team, Duchess will then buff, and then I have the nuke. So I don't have any kind of buff strip. I don't have, anything else. I don't have a Necrit to protect. So I'm using the champions I have to the best way I can. This team's a bit of a pain because I don't have a very good Warlord counter. But if we refresh the list, and let's see if we can get another Hegemon team. There we go. We have a Hegemon team. We go for our anti-Hegi setup. Once again, we should see Hegemon try and probably A2 us. Almost killed Leoris, although obviously has his inbuilt swift parry. But block cooldown skills and decrease attack, incredibly annoying and frustrating if this was, if you didn't have a way of cleansing. So we'll go for the full team cleanse, get the block debuffs and increase attack out. And then we'll go for the nuke. This time our unkillable has kicked in. So we're now ready for the double hitter. Easy. A full auto, that's going to take under 20 seconds. To beat a 400k team power team with a Hegemon, Duchess, Cantrophon. And it's because, yes, Mithrala is key on this, but I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Duchess, Leoris, and Asuga are all fantastic champions. But the simple reality is, before Mithrala, I wouldn't have attacked this team. I wouldn't have been comfortable with any other champion taking Mithrala's slot of the champions I had available to me until recently. To be able to, even with these other three phenomenally good champions, to be able to create a unit to beat teams with Hegemon. And it works the same for Kymar. In fact, there's a Kymar team here. We can show it there. So I would say this team is faster than me, 100% certain. Probably faster than my fastest champion. So Sify will go first, Kymar will sleep, but you can't sleep. And this is the same thing, and now you got a CC Tormin, can't do anything. With all this damage mitigation, Rotos did very little. We have a choice here with Leoris. I can either A2, go for the double hit, which I think is probably the sensible thing to do. And then at this point, let's get the decreased speed there. Let's get the petrification out. So when Kymar goes for his A1, actually did A2, but still petrifies himself. That was the problem with using the A2. But I'll cleanse again. So, it's all about that Mithrala cleanse. So normally I'd open with the A3 for Leoris, keep the ability to not be CC'd. Really helpful against any team that can either strip my block debuffs that Duchess has put up, or a Tormin if I've outrun my block debuffs. I still can't get frozen. Mithrala, when she does the full team cleanse, Tormin is a little bit of a weakness because she'll do the full team cleanse and then puts up 2 additional buffs, and those buffs can trigger the Tormin passive. So she's not great at countering Tormin at all. She's extremely good at countering Kymar and Hegemon. And I've been using her on Arena offense this week so far, and it's been working really well. So again, here we found a Hegemon team. Let's just click full auto and see how it goes. Pretty sure this Hegemon will open with A2. Pretty sure their Sify is going to be pretty fast. You also get that opportunity to counter, which is pretty nice. Again, that Rotos is going to struggle. We'll get a counter, but at least I can't be... I mean, this is just ridiculous, the extra turns. We then should get to a point where we now do the double hit with Luris, and it should be game over. 31 seconds. Not too bad. In plat, full auto, against what you would normally look at and think that is a fairly cancerous Siphirotos with Hegemon team. But not to worry. Their Rotos finds it very hard to take down Duchess when Duchess has all of the buffs up. And, Mithrala is almost untouchable herself. So, like the name set of the set she's wearing. There's no other team here that I'd say is a natural Mithrala counter. So really on the offense, when I'm using Mithrala, I'm looking for Hegemon and Kai'Ma. But it does mean that she opens up a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't otherwise be able to fight. And I'm using her in my defense as well. And I've tried a few different combinations. I'd say this one's actually working less well. I think it was working better when I had Torm in there. And let's just make sure we've got our AI overrides. And, any defense can be countered if you have the right champions. A lot of it's down to, do you have the right champions? I don't have them all, so there's a lot of teams I can't fight, particularly up around this sort of very high gold 5, lower plat area. I do think Mithrala will be good for other parts of PvE as well. I'll continue playing around with her, but I think she'll be very strong in Hydra. I think she'll be pretty strong in wave progression. This A2, putting the Hex out paired with the passive of turning them to stone, I think is very strong. It could be an interesting way of trying to CC various waves of champions, at least as a backup CC where your main crowd control champions might miss one. And I also think the combination of the shield and strengthen will help if your team struggles a little bit on the survivability front. I think she can help maintain your team through the fight. I think once I've unlocked a bit more of Doom Tower, like the really hard floors towards the end of the rotation, I'll probably try and run her in some compositions there and kind of see what we can get done. People have asked for some more kind of budget friendly approaches to the Doom Tower floors. I'm not saying that Mithrala is necessarily a budget champion. You still need to have beaten Hydra for a while to get her. But maybe when I'm doing those tests and coming up with a video that's of interest in terms of a budget team to clear the floors, I might also throw in Mithrala there and show how she can help solidify a CC team with slightly, just to improve that budget team to make it even more consistent. Because I think most people who are pushing high level Doom Tower probably have a team that can beat normal Hydra. And if you can beat normal Hydra and your whole clan is taking it down, you will get Mithrala. It won't take that long. So everyone will get her, and therefore I think wherever you can use her becomes valuable. And I think honestly she could play anywhere. She'll be fantastic in faction wars, dungeons, arena, as we've discussed. I honestly think if you really wanted to, you could find a way to use her in clan boss. You really can use her anywhere. Alright then, thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. Any feedback is always welcome. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.